Okay, great. Welcome. Good evening. Today is Thursday, April 11th, 2024. This is a meeting of the Pioneer Valley Regional School District School Committee and taking place in the Pioneer Valley Regional School Library and online by Google Meet. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:03. We'll start with citizens' comments. Do we have anyone in the room? Anyone online? I did receive an email from Sarah Kearns, who is a select board member for Northfield, that she wasn't able to be here tonight, but she asked me to read her comments. And I will read them verbatim. Dear PVRS School Committee, I wish to commend the district on the really great eclipse party. I attended with several members of my family and saw lots of friends and neighbors there. It was such a nice event, a community gathering with food, photos, education, and even a little artistic expression thrown into it. It was a master class in bang for the buck with low-cost, high-impact activities from a photo booth to a senior class fundraiser to very proud student parking guides. And who knew that a colander would throw out hundreds of tiny eclipse images? Not me. Please convey our gratitude to the school workers, parents, and students who helped make it such a success. Their work did not go unnoticed. I can't wait to see the group photo, but she's attached a photo of her own. Thank you for helping us build memories in these tumultuous teen years. Sarah Kearns, Northfield Select Board.
Nice.
Very nice. All right. So continuing on with our agenda, we'd like to do the executive session first. So I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, 2 and 3, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. And 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with the Teachers Association and support personnel if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body and the chair so declares, which I do. And we will be returning to open session. We'll also be reviewing executive session minutes from 12/14/23 and 1/11/24.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. And
Sylvia Cummings, yes.
Melissa Gary, yes.
Jennifer Coffin, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
Steve?
Stephen Martin, yes.
Thank you. And Raina Dasty, yes. All right. We do need to do I was thinking just the second ago that I forgot to do a roll call attendance. So.
Sylvia Cummings, present.
Melissa Gary, present.
Jennifer Coffin, present.
Karen O'Neill, present.
Gretchen Kelton here.
Thank you. Steve?
Stephen Martin, present.
And Raina Dasty, present. Okay. All right. So we will adjourn to executive session. And we'll be returning shortly.
Peace.
Okay, welcome back. We're to open session. So I would like to entertain a motion for our next item of business for the PVREA contract for 2024 to 2027.
So moved.
So, yeah, so we're going to,
Raina, are we doing a presentation?
are we going to do the presentation before or after the,
What would
Vote.
say before?
do the presentation before the vote? Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Jordan, have you got it up on the slides
I
there?
have it up on the screen. I'm just going to hand out the memo.
Okay.
And,
Raina, Catherine's not here, so I'm not going to put it up on the screen until,
Okay.
is that okay?
Steve, do you need to see it, or
Can you see?
can you see, or did you call in?
I'll put it up.
Nope, that's okay.
please.
Thank you.
Get those, can you run out? Reverse, not earth.
Yeah, just one more.
Thank you.
All right. People
All right.
ready?
I will,
Jordan?
yes.
Jordan?
Yep.
I think Gretchen Kelton, as chair of the collective bargaining and personnel subcommittee, was maybe going to say a few words.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be super, super brief. I just really wanted to share with everybody my sincere gratitude for this process. I think we did this work in 4 meetings, which means we did this work in 4 hours, and it was incredibly impressive. The committee, administration, the PVREA, it was respectful and collaborative. It can't be any other way. And I'm sincerely grateful. We value you so much. It feels really nice to speak this to you, Renee. But as a school committee member and as a grandparent of a very, very special child in the school system. So thank you for your professionalism and your partnership.
So we have a slideshow to share with not only the school committee and our union partners, but also our community members at home who are viewing the meeting tonight or who will view a video of this. This is an important historical record. So I will begin, and we will move along apace. So as Gretchen mentioned, the negotiations timeline was brief. Back in February 2023, the school committee and the PVREA reached an agreement for 2022 to 2025. Last October, the school committee voted to return funds to the town and also committed to 3 key financial actions: investing in curriculum, in the PVRS facility, and in staff compensation. And to make good on that last commitment, that same evening, the school committee delivered an invitation to reopen contract talks with the PVREA. It is critically important that our community understand that this was a proactive invitation from the school committee because there was still a year and a half left on the contract. Negotiations did not need to take place for another year. Contract talks began in January, only a few months ago, and the contract was ratified in April. That is lightning fast for folks who have been involved in contract talks. Gosh, this moved along at a great pace. So what are the highlights? There will be landmark teacher salary increases over 3 years. At minimum, every educator in the district will see a 15% increase in their salary over the life of the contract. There are some educators whose salaries will increase 31% over the life of the contract. The cost of living adjustments, or COLAs, for the 3 years are 3, 3, and 3. And in addition, there are 3 new steps at the top of the scale. So that means that veteran educators who have been at the top step which is currently step 15 for some time, will enjoy not only a 3% COLA each year, but also a new step that grants them an additional 2% salary increase. For people just entering the district, we now have a starting minimum salary of $52,000. To reward commitment to the district, there is a $1,000 one-time bonus for staff who currently work in the district, educators who are still here as of September 30th this fall. And in exchange, the district will benefit from 15 minutes more per day of teacher time. And our agreement is that that time would take place before the school day begins, and the administration has greater flexibility when scheduling teacher time during the workday. So when we talk about COLAs, what do we mean? This graph shows the cost of living adjustments in the PVREA contract over the past 15 years. And you can see those 3 columns in green represent COLAs that are higher than any that have taken place since fiscal year 15. I did look at older contracts, and it began to get a little dicey. There were previous contracts, not, I think it may be FY 12 or 13, that had a 0% COLA. So this is indeed a larger cost of living adjustment than the union has benefited from in many years. And so the school committee and our community understand the makeup of our teacher force. This shows the distribution of our 77 members of the PVREA by their salary step and salary lane. And what you can see here in red is that the largest single cohort, 26 educators, is at step 15, which is currently the top step, in the master's lane. So about half of our staff, 49%, are at step 15, and 69% of our staff are in the master's lane. So I'm going to hand over to Jordan, and he'll be talking with you about comparisons with local districts.
All right, thank you. So in the comparisons, we're going to talk about length of workday, salaries at bachelor's step 1, and salaries at the master's top step, and number of salary total salary steps. So we'll compare to local districts. So in terms of the length of the workday, prior to this agreement, our educators had a 6.75-hour workday. After this agreement, a 7-hour workday, and as you can see, that moves from one of the shorter workdays to right in the middle of districts in the area in terms of the length of the workday. And I'm going to try to move quickly, not because this isn't all important, but I know nights can get long quickly, so it's very important stuff, but I'm going to try to move quick. So bachelor step 1, in this current fiscal year, here's how the district looks in comparison to schools in the area. $45,772, the second lowest for newly qualified educators. But in FY25, looking at agreements for all of our local districts in FY25, our bachelor step 1 pay of $53,064 will now be the second highest. So going from the second lowest to the second highest, is going to be, I'm sure, transformative in our ability to recruit newly qualified teachers. Equally importantly, to the success of the district is retaining our most seasoned veteran teachers. Currently, our top step is the third lowest in FY24 in our area. In FY25, it will then be the fourth highest in the area at $79,182. So that's a big difference going from towards the lower end to the high middle end of the spectrum. But I think in addition, adding steps in FY26 and 27 will help us continue to progress up the ladder, and hopefully maybe only one district will be higher than us in FY27. It's hard to completely predict the future of what other districts will do, but the language of the contracts that we've seen don't have additions of steps at that high of a COLA and space between steps. So we anticipate and hope we'll continue to climb that. Certainly, I think the school committee feels the same way. As we see our educators move up these rankings, we feel nothing but pride because we endeavor to have the best teachers, and if we want to have the best teachers, we need to compensate them as such. Total steps, right? We'll have 18 steps, and importantly, that comes from adding steps at the top. So currently we have 15 steps, which are more, and obviously, you know, for teachers, what's most important is what you know those steps ultimately pay. But by adding at the top, the highest compensation we'll have will grow quite quickly throughout the length of this agreement. So by FY27, I distributed the salary scales, but there's some pretty impressive salaries that we'll be able to compensate our educators. And then we wanted to do some comparisons, kind of even going a little further into the future, because there are some other area districts that have ratified agreements that go past FY25. So Gil, Montague, and Mohawk both have agreements. And so next year, compared to those districts, you know, we'll be at the top of districts in the area that have agreements through FY26. So we're at $53,065, which, you know, clearly is more than other districts in the area that have agreements into FY26. And this slide also makes us very happy. In FY26, at the master's top step, PVRSD educators will be making $83,188, which is more than $4,000 above the closest district that has an agreement that goes through FY26. And I know I'm going to have to skip back a couple steps, but I just want to highlight that the gap between Gil, Montague, Mohawk, and our district is only growing. So as you can see, is about $2,300 between PVRSD and Gil, Montague and FY25. And I have a very large head, so it's unfortunate for Renee to be in the position she's in, but I can, because you're at a disadvantaged position. But if you ever want to buy me a fitted cap, you'll want to get a bigger size. But as you can see, so $2,300 in FY25 between our top step and Gil Montague's, and that's increasing to about $4,000 in FY26. And then as we go to FY27, that impact will get even bigger. And I think that makes us all very happy, because that's what we want to see. We want to see our most experienced educators being among the highest paid, if not the highest paid in our area. Again, very happy moment, I think, for all of us. And so, again, just looking at one step in particular, if you were an educator who came in this year, were hired on Bachelor Step 1, you came in making $45,772, I think that we can probably all agree that we wish it was more. And so we've taken action to remedy that issue. And by FY27, that educator who came in at $45,772 by FY27 will be making a little over $60,000. And that's growth of over 30% in that 4-year period, which is great. And of course, there's always more we can do, and we will, I'm sure, as a team, endeavor to do more in the future. But for that particular salary step, people who came in Bachelor Step 1, that's just a huge improvement over those 4 years, and hopefully that'll help us retain people, because they'll see that there's, it's worth sticking around. There's financial benefit for remaining in the district. So, what this really does, this is, as Patricia introduced, landmark compensation package does, is it improves our opportunities for excellence. We obviously are doing a lot of great things, but in schools the work's never done, right? You're always trying to get better, and that's what we ask of students, and so that's what we're asking of ourselves, and hope that sets us up for that. So, right, we want to retain our experienced teachers. So by adding steps, we hope to give ourselves more opportunity to do so. So everyone's going to get at least 5% a year, and if Jerome Powell keeps working on the inflation rate, that'll be significantly above inflation, and that's wonderful. People who have stuck with us through the years will begin to reap those rewards to a greater extent. it allows us to recruit new teachers, as we saw in the area, in the greater Franklin County area. There aren't a lot of districts guaranteeing at least $52,000 for the first step. So that'll help us attract newly qualified teachers. We want to recognize commitment, so people who stick around and are with us next fall will get a $1,000 bonus. While making the calendar for next year, we added 84th day to provide more opportunities for professional development and a little more pay because it's another day of work. So another 0.5% increase from FY24 to FY25. So really, everyone's getting at least 5.5%. So that's good. And I think the most important thing is we're not creating an unsustainable financial future for the district. We've projected this out, looked at it through the life of the contract, and we're not expecting a financial windfall or to go to the towns asking for unreasonable amounts of money. This is something that we can do, and in projecting it out, feel we can do it without asking for huge assessment increases. So that's good, right? We'll be able to have modest assessment growth while providing landmark improvements in compensation for our staff. So we're really happy with the outcome. I know in some senses I'm underselling it. It's super happy, but it's almost 8 o'clock, so my enthusiasm might not be exactly as high as I'd like it to be, but we're super happy. It was a great process, and we're just so proud that we're able to compensate, make so much ground in a single agreement to compensate our faculty better. So it's a super proud day for everybody, I think. And yeah, so more of the financial context in all the message boards, whether the superintendents or the directors of finance, right? There's a ton of anxiety and worry about the upcoming year, especially, and needs for overrides and no more ESSER money, and we're looking at an overall general fund increase of only 0.64%, town assessment increase of 3%. A lot of that has to do with how we manage our ESSER money and some of the reductions we've made, and I think I know I'm essentially complimenting myself, but smart budgeting is a team. The budget subcommittee, superintendent, and school committee at large. The smart decisions we've made in developing our budgets throughout the years and next year in particular. We had to reduce some administrative positions. We made the decision in October to pay off the state note. We've been looking at every line closer, trying to be more precise and reduce excess and budget lines where we find opportunity to do so. Really positively, less students are leaving the district through choice and charter, which also allows us to put more compensation back into our faculty and staff. And again, the grants, we were able to target those in not just ESSER, but all of our grants to be able to reduce our general fund spending and be smart with those grant funds. And, obviously, thank you to the state for an increase in rural aid, and we hope that continues. Obviously, we'll see what happens in FY25. But again, the good thing is we are conservative with our budgeting. We feel comfortable wherever rural aid comes in that we're going to have sustainable budgets for the next couple of years. And yeah, overall, this is made possible by a super supportive school committee, so thank you, and competent administration. So we're happy. It's been a pleasure to work with, of course, the school committee and Patricia, and as Gretchen said, a great negotiating session with the PVREA. If you're looking for bad news, there isn't any tonight to share. Questions, discussion?
Yeah. Do you want? So there's a suggested motion on the memo.
I would like to make a motion to approve the settlement agreement with the Pioneer Valley Regional Education Association as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Want to start the voting?
Sylvia Cummings, yes.
Melissa Gary, yes.
Jennifer Coffin, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
Steve?
Stephen Martin, yes.
And Raina Dasta, yes. So I'm proud to say that passed unanimously. Thank you. All right. Excellent. If there are no objections, I'd like to move up the, under business, letter F, our PVREA MOA. I'd like to move that vote to now, just to get that item taken care of. Would someone like to make that motion?
Motion to accept the PVERA MOA food reimbursement for the Vermont Learning Excursion.
I'll second.
Thank you. All right. Any discussion? Oh, go ahead.
Sylvia Cummings, yes.
Melissa Gary, yes.
Jennifer Coffin, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
Steve?
Stephen Martin, yes.
And Raina Daster, yes. So that passes unanimously as well. Thank you. All right, so moving on to our reports. For the chair report, I don't have much to report on. Our student reps are in Vermont on the learning excursion, so I'm sure learning some exciting things that the team will bring back to us. In the district. I also just want to say that I was part of the principal search for PVRS. It was a committee made up of parents, staff, teachers, a school committee member, students, and administrators. And I just want to give a shout out to what a great experience it is to have such a diverse representation on a search committee like that. And you know, one of our values is having student voice, and we have reps at our table for our meetings, and inviting students to be part of search committees and other activities really lives that value. And this is my PSA for any students who we welcome you. We think it's important to have your voice, and we want you at the table. And if you think it's too intimidating to be at the table with a group of adults or be part of this committee, I'm asking you to be brave, bring a friend, and give it a try. I promise we'll be nice, and we might just learn something from you that will make your school and your community better. So shout out to the students. So great. All right, so chair's report. Moving on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Well, first, we had a wonderful eclipse event, and it has made the news. Grade 6 student from NES, Hazel Singh, had that beautiful picture on the front page of the Reporter. Thank you to Paul France, photographer, and Chris Larrabee for joining us. We had over 400 community members marveling at nature, enjoying each other's company, and engaging in some really fun and educational activities. Also on the theme of in the media, there was a great article about our award from the state as a career innovation pathway school, which will bring $75,000 next year and $50,000 a year for the 4 years following that. And just today, there is an article about our new principal, Sarah Burstein, with a great picture. Our new principal at VES. I am so happy to announce that Anne Scanlon Amy has accepted my offer to become the next PVRS principal. We have a new principal, and what a wonderful principal she will be. So both Sarah and Annie, Mrs. Scanlon Amy, will be introduced to you, school committee, at your next meeting on April 25th. There is one piece of news that was not as welcome, came as a bit of a surprise. I received a letter from the Department of Education on Monday morning saying that Pioneer, as a district, had landed on the list of the 10% of districts that were lowest performing on MCAS during years 2022 and 2023. I spent some time on the phone with Desi today. Jordan and Kate Mesmer have both been hard at work deciphering what this means, how it happened, and we will bring you a full report on April 25th about how it happened and what any implications may be for the future. And that is it for me.
Okay. Great, thank you, Patricia. And moving on to our Director of Finance reports.
Great, thank you. So we're, in the final quarter of the year, so the home stretch here. Things are still looking good regarding expenditures. I expect us to have a little bit of a cushion there. Estimated budget surplus of $182,000, or 1.9% of total expenditure budget. Revenues, although we've only collected 63.86% of revenues, I expect that we'll ultimately collect 100% because the categories that we're haven't collected the revenue in are categories such as assessments, Chapter 70 aid, transportation aid, tuition areas where we know we're ultimately going to collect the revenue. I think we had almost $2 million come in this week, so that isn't on that report. So we will get there, so that's good. The budget will certainly be in balance and a little bit of a surplus, but nothing egregious. And we have some budget transfers, and these are really just necessary to remedy a few negative balances and to make it so we have less reliance on school choice. So move some money from some expenditure lines to others so that we can, like the active health insurance, so we don't have to rely as much on school choice. For the budget transfers, we will need a vote unless there's any questions.
Are you ready for a motion?
Sure.
I move that we accept the budget transfers, which are given to us on the chart from our Director of Finance and Operations.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? No? Sylvia, do you want to start the vote?
Sylvia Cummings, yes.
Melissa Gary, yes.
Jennifer Coffin, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
Go ahead, Steve.
Stephen Martin, yes.
And Raina Dasti, yes. So that passes unanimously.
Good.
Thank you.
And in terms of lunch report, the overall lunch program was slightly profitable in March, just over $2,000, and for the year is including all encumbered salaries for summers is profitable for about $3,000 overall. Obviously, as we, I think, spoke about last meeting, we have plans for installing a new walk-in freezer cooler at the PVRS building to start spending down some of our surplus fund balance in the school lunch fund. So that project will take place this summer. So that'll be good for our operations there.
Nice and cool. All right. Anything further? All right. So moving on to the approval of minutes for March 7th and March 21. I do have a correction for the March 7th. They should reflect that when we had adjourned to the joint meeting, that Michelle Geruso left the school committee meeting and joined the meeting as the joint meeting as the town administrator for Leiden. Given that.
I have one is it okay to say one for the 21st?
Any other corrections for the 7th? Nope. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead for the 21st.
For the March 21st minutes, item number 3, student presentations, RAIN is spelled R-A-I-N-E.
Okay. I was wondering about that.
I also have one. On the second page, under Director of Finance, I'd like to ask, was that only a surplus of $208?
Oh, it should see K.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank
Got it
you.
a little tight this year,
little
Karen,
bit
but
yeah.
That's cutting it close, right? So it's $208,000. Thank you.
I hate to also mention, but there is a name misspelling. My last name, Gary.
E-A-R. What? It was a bad name.
That's okay. That's okay.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
And I'm pretty sure I spelled Sarah Kern's name wrong in one of these meeting notices, but I'll
Okay.
correct it as I did in the executive
Okay.
session.
Great, okay,
Is that-
perfect. All right. All right,
Can I make a motion?
go ahead and make a
I
motion, yeah.
move that we accept the minutes as amended for both Thursday, March 7th and Thursday, March 21st.
I'll second.
Great, thank you. All right,
Sylvia Cummings, yes.
Melissa Gary, yes.
Jennifer Coffin, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes?
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
Steve?
Stephen Martin, yes.
Great, and Raina Dasta, yes. Great, so those pass unanimously. Excellent. So moving on to school choice seats for 24-25 school year. This is just an informational item tonight. We'll
Yes,
vote another night.
for a school committee to begin thinking about. It is that time of the year when school committee votes on possible school choice seats. And you have the ability under the law to vote for seats in each school and at each grade level. The state's presumption is that every district will participate in the school choice program unless the school committee votes by June 1st not to participate. You have the memo in front of you. Our general stance as an administrative team is that we would not recommend new seats at Northfield because of our tuition agreement with Warwick. If students who live in Warwick come to Northfield Elementary School as school choice students, we would receive $5,000 a year in school choice payment for them, but when they graduated and came to Pioneer, they would be treated as school choice students. We would continue to receive $5,000 instead of the $18,000 plus tuition that we would get from Warwick. Jumping to Pioneer, we have space at Pioneer for more school choice students. Traditionally, the district has not accepted new school choice students in grade 12, and that is because it becomes a little complicated regarding graduation. There isn't time to make up MCAS so easily or other graduation requirements. So I think for your consideration, we would suggest that no new seats be opened at grade 12. BES is the place where there are question marks for the administrative team, and we really would welcome your feedback. We did a survey with every family that currently has students enrolled in the district via school choice. We asked them, do you have younger siblings you hope would come to the district? Right now, there are only 2, and those are both families that hope that new seats would open up in the kindergarten at Bernardston Elementary School. We've had some interest from other families who don't currently have a relationship with the district. We put those numbers there for you. Last year, there were the only seats opened up at Bernardston were those for younger siblings of currently enrolled students. There may be space in grades, let me look at the right place. Grades 4 and 6, or 3 and 6. Up to 4 seats in each class. We have low class size numbers in those grades. The question is always about the level of need and how much we are able to support students. There is a higher rate overall of students who have special needs in our school choice population. We love every one of those students, and we are grateful for the opportunity to educate those students. So the admin team didn't have a firm recommendation at this point. We wanted to share this information with you. Again, grades 3 and 6, apologies, up to 4 new seats in each. In grade 3, that would bring the class sizes up to 16 and 17. There's plenty of wiggle room there should we have new resident students move in. And same in grade 6, that would bring us up to 14 and 15 students in each section. And if the school committee were to open 2 new seats in kindergarten, that would bring us up to 21 students. And that becomes what we call cuspy. We are on the cusp there, right? If we have 21 students and then we get a couple more move-ins, we get to 23. I taught 23 kids in kindergarten. It's doable. I would happily hear your questions and comments.
I just have a question on the graph. I don't want to assume what the colors mean, and I don't see clearly what they mean.
Sorry about that, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Above kindergarten, there's a darker green with 19.
Yep.
That means we are projecting 1 section with 19 students in kindergarten next year. When you go over to 2nd grade, we're projecting 2 sections, one of which would have 17 and one would have 14. So next year, we're projecting that grades 2, 3, 4, and 6 will have 2 sections each at BES, and the grades K, 1, and 5 would have 1 section each.
Thank you.
I have a follow-up question to that, please. So referencing that grade 2, why 17 and 14 and not 16 and 15?
I believe that has to do with the specific needs of students in the class.
Thank you.
Is there a recommended for each grade somewhere that recommendations are based off of? Does DESI have something per grade or anything that says it's not recommended to go over the student population, help drive decisions?
There are no class size maxima in the teacher's contract, and there are no class size recommendations in any school committee policy.
Yeah, go
I have
ahead.
a question too. I don't think the district is in any position to turn down any students, so I'm just wondering, Patricia, can you give me more of a reason why we would not accept a senior other than the MCAS? Just so I have a better understanding.
Why we would not accept a senior?
Yeah.
Because if the senior is a senior, but is missing many credits required for graduation, we then are in the position of having someone who doesn't graduate on time and perhaps needing extra services. It can become something that we get essentially a negative mark. That's not precise language from the department when we have students who don't graduate on time. So that would be the reason there. The reason why we wouldn't in other grades is because we had a bit of a run with a significant level of social, emotional, and educational need among our school choice population. And there was essentially a request in particular from our elementary schools and BES in particular to press pause on bringing many more students in through school choice until we got a handle on student needs. And we're taking care of resident children.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Renee. No.
Nope. I didn't hear you, but-
Go ahead. Yeah, just keep talking. Yeah, he just needs.
Okay.
There we go.
Thanks. Yeah, so just in your consideration, I would love to offer a viewpoint that the reason I'm here is to give you things to consider. So I just want to do that. And so the kindergarten number at Bernardston being at 19 and going to 21, as Patricia alluded to, 21 is a very cuspy number. I too have taught a class of 24 kindergartners with no trouble at all. It's very case sensitive, like it's very case by case. I've also had groups of 12 that required many supports, many more than the 24. So I just want to remind the school committee, and I noticed the recommendation is potentially to move this to a vote on the 25th meeting, that the early childhood teachers conduct a screening, which isn't a readiness tool, but it is a tool in place for us to assess the needs of the incoming students. So those that will happen the first 2 weeks in May. So at least for the kindergarten number, I would think possibly you would want to know what your incoming group looks like if you're going to push to a cuspy number. Because if you had to split that group, the ramifications of a whole new classroom teacher and paraprofessionals to go along with that and all of that potentially could seem something to consider. So just for your consideration, because that number's cuspy, it may make some sense, and certainly the administration team would give it a thoughtful look, but I just wanted you to be aware that there is a screening happening for the first 2 weeks in May that may help us determine what our students, and the siblings, certainly we want to support those families who choose us, but if they were to put us in, not harm's way, but, you know, in a place that would make the total group be in question, just a thought. And I would also like to reiterate Patricia's point about the lived experience of third grade and sixth grade students who who are choicing. They come with a history potentially of reasons why that might be happening in an already fragile population. That sixth grade is being split for the first time due to reasons of both number and need. So just food for thought. Thank you for your consideration.
So I have a follow-up, which is exactly that Renee alluded to, or stated that sixth grade is being split. Are there other split classrooms that are newly being split this year, for next year?
Did you get that question?
Yeah, so first grade currently has 2 sections. Those 2 sections are moving up to second grade. Second grade has 2 sections. They're moving up to third grade. Third grade has 2 sections. They're moving up to fourth grade. Fourth grade, do we have 1 section, Kate, Jordan? Are we 1 section in fourth grade?
Yep.
Renee is
Yep.
the one, just one.
Yep. I think
Okay.
that
So
is
that's
the only one
the
getting
fifth grade.
split.
The fifth grade is the single section that's being broken up into 2.
Okay.
So that's the other.
Okay.
And I just wanted to clarify, so in terms of accepting seniors, that if a family moved into the district and there was a senior, we would absolutely, that there's a spot for that senior because they're a resident. And this only limits choice, students who are choicing in their senior year. So just to clarify that. Great. Any further questions? Lots to think about. And we can have more discussion next time in terms of a vote. If we do, in terms of the timeline, we need to vote before June 1st to accept choice students. Once we vote to accept choice students, is it correct? It's correct that we can change the number at a future date?
We can. It depends if there are students on a wait list or not.
Okay.
Once November 1st rolls around, we don't have to accept any new students if there's no one on the wait list. It is easier to open up seats than it is to close open seats that you previously voted to approve.
Okay. So, go ahead.
So is it worth just moving this to a later May school committee meeting?
We could consider that.
Because it's still
yeah,
before
whether it
June
would be
1st.
yeah, we could maybe move it until to one of the May meetings.
There is
If
the
there's-
ramification that for our couple of families, it does increase their anxiety level because there's uncertainty. But yeah, we could do that.
Okay, so we'll discuss that further.
Okay.
Okay, great. Student Opportunity Act plan.
Okay, we have Kate Mesmer with us. School committee, you received a very long document in your packet that relates to the Student Opportunity Act. Kate has a slideshow. Jordan, if you could bring up that slideshow. Do you have access to it? I hope we, yeah.
I'm quite certain I do, yep.
I will reshare it with you right now. And while he is doing that, I will put it up on this screen. Okay, why don't you get us started while Jordan is getting the slideshow up there.
Okay. Good evening, school committee. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Excellent. So years ago when I was working as a singer-songwriter, I took a friend's novel that was 400 pages long and I turned it into a 3-minute song. This is a little bit like that. So you have a 22-page Student Opportunity Act that was handed out to you that I certainly don't expect everyone to have read at this point. This particular PowerPoint is the 3-minute version of that 22-page report, but it is the most important parts of it, and I'm very happy to answer any questions that you might have. But so Jordan, do I have to ask you to go forward? Who do I ask to go forward?
Sorry, what was that? Your PowerPoint's up.
Yep.
Is that what you're asking? I hope.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yep. Yeah. Just tell me.
Oh, so I actually can do it? Cool.
Just
Okay.
yell next.
Okay, so you probably remember in 2019, the Massachusetts legislature approved the SOA, and the purpose of it was to provide high-quality education for all students, and specifically to address inequities that could be identified from looking at student data. Okay, 80% of the SOA, especially the most recent increase, goes to or has gone to 96 districts across the Commonwealth. And in FY24, Pioneer is among the 123 districts that received only the minimum increase to Chapter 70 funding, which was $60 a student. And there's a link there to that. And then rural districts are disproportionately represented among those receiving only the minimum increase. And unfortunately, that's fairly common, but that is in fact true. So despite the fact that it's around, if I'm doing the math even remotely right, $30-some thousand as opposed to some districts receiving hundreds of thousands into the millions of dollars, that's kind of where that stands for us. It, however, does not change what I have to do or what other directors of teaching and learning or curriculum directors have to do in terms of responding to the questions that we're being asked about how we're going to use those funds. So that's why it's 22 pages. Okay. So going forward, each district school committee is required to approve the proposed plan every 3 years. So you've done that now twice. And there are the key points. There are 3 of them I want to point out. Obviously, as the law requires, we have to identify key student subgroups.
Yep. And the next one.
We have to identify selected groups. This is them. You can go forward to the selected groups. That's fine. For Pioneer, as it is for many districts, that happens to be students with disabilities, English learners, and former English learners. And our largest group is actually economically disadvantaged students. So there are 2 areas of focus that we have
Hold on,
for the
Kate.
plan forward.
Yeah, we gotta move forward in the slides. We're a little bit behind you guys in the slides.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
So there are two parts to the plan. Focus 1 is on social emotional learning. We are going to hire a new high school guidance counselor. We're going to continue responsive classroom work at the elementary level, continue restorative practices work at the secondary level, and then expand the second step curriculum, which is a social emotional learning curriculum, to the middle school. And in this case, that would include grades 6, 7, and 8 for how second step creates its particular curriculum. The second area is the big one, adopting a new math curriculum for the elementary and secondary levels, implementing the investigating history social studies curriculum in 3 to 7. We were awarded a grant from DESE to implement investigating history in grades 5 to 7. That grant pays for professional development for teachers and for the curriculum materials themselves. I recently applied to be part of the pilot for the curriculum for grades 3 and 4. And so I'm hopeful that once that happens, we'll be covered 3 through 7 with a high quality instructional material from that's DESE approved going forward. I'm going to start an elementary science curriculum adoption committee moving forward. And again, remember, this covers 3 years, so that won't happen immediately, but it is something that will be part of the plan. And then, of course, providing PD for that to support all of the curriculum work that we're going to do. And my request to the school committee is that you approve the SOA plan. Is that the last one, Jordan? I think that's the last slide. Yes? So that was my 3-minute implementation of my 22-page report. So
Nice
feel
job.
free to read it whenever you would like to, if you choose, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have now.
So I have a question. First comment, thank you for that quick presentation because this document was quite laborious in reading. The part that stuck out to me was the chronic absenteeism and the improvements that were made in some of the groups with lowering that. Are we going to be continuing to track the chronic absenteeism throughout the next 3 years in this program?
Yes, we're required to do so. Yes.
Okay. And do you have any insight as to why there was such a reduction in absenteeism between 2022 and 2023? I know you weren't here, but through your...
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that that's a trend that schools in general are seeing, mostly because kids are, I think, students are starting to recognize that they actually enjoy being in school with their peers, and that they see an advantage to in-person learning as opposed to online learning. But again, that's my personal opinion. I don't have any evidence to back that up. It would be interesting to take a survey to see if we could find out exactly what they have to say. Sure. And I just wanted to mention, there are a few typos in the plan. I have, in fact, corrected all of those now. I just missed them. They're tiny, they're relatively minor, but those have been changed in the plan. And if you approve the plan, I can submit it to the state. And then there's kind of a back and forth that needs to take place because the state then goes through the plan very, very carefully, and they make any suggestions if they decide they're going to do that. And then we as a district can respond to those suggestions as needed. And this is the first time they've done that, so the previous cycles of approval have not included this level of detail, nor have they happened within the funding system that they use for grant approval. So that's new. It's a mechanism that enables them to do that. So they're, I believe, taking advantage of it, and I will do whatever it is that they ask.
So I will make a motion to accept the PVRSD FY 2024 Student Opportunity Act plan as submitted.
Second.
I have one more quick question. I'm so sorry.
Yep, this is a good time to.
So just a quick question. In terms of reviewing, what is the plan for, when is the review of progress? Is there something that happens mid-year, or how does one talk about if the plan is going according to the plan?
Right. Excellent question. So in the, they actually asked me, as the person who wrote the plan, they actually asked for a very detailed description of how you're going to go and check the metrics. So that is part of the work that I need to continue with the administrative team so that we can collect data on how all of those things are moving forward. Everything from curriculum usage to how professional development is going, what other professional development supports are needed, how students are performing in terms of specifically those subgroups, because I'm going to need to report that data back to the state.
Thank you.
Sure.
And Kate, do you have a sense of, do you expect to be able to be reviewing the plan like on an annual basis, or how, often?
I would hope actually that it happens a bit more frequently, because as soon as there is a new curriculum adopted, and again, some of the work, especially in the SEL, the first focus group, we've already started, so I should be able within the next, probably towards probably the first quarter of next year, to get some pretty good data on how that work is going. And as we go forward with each of those curriculums, that will slowly over time I'll be able to get more and more data, and I'm hopeful that that efforts and the support of the school committee around curriculum improvement is going to show up also in MCAS scores. So I'm really hopeful that we're going to start seeing some data that can actually show that these focus steps we're taking for the SOA are really helping students.
Great, thank you.
I actually have one question.
Oh, yep.
Sorry. So correct me if I'm wrong, but the current math curriculum is some of our teachers who have gone above and beyond putting together a sort of a math program currently. That's kind of what we've been going off of, right?
I'm sorry, can you say the first part again? They're using
I'm not entirely certain what they've put together, but it's a lot of our teachers that have gone above and beyond. It's out of their normal teaching categories that they've put together. That they've come together as a team and put the program together. That's currently what the math program is currently, right?
Correct.
Okay.
At the secondary level, that is correct.
I just wanted to make sure I'm comparing, we're going from one system to another. I just wanted to make sure I'm understanding fully. Thank you.
And you're in the you're in the process of looking at a more formalized curriculum,
Correct.
starting at the elementary level and moving through to the secondary level. So,
Thank you.
okay, great, perfect. All right. Any other discussion? All right, we ready to vote?
Sylvia Cummings, yes.
Melissa Gary, yes.
Jennifer Coffin, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
Go ahead, Steve.
Stephen Martin, yes.
And Raina Dastu, yes. So that passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the work in putting this together, and
Thank you.
and we look forward to hearing about the progress. So,
Great, and thank you for the support for curriculum materials, because that's going to be really, really helpful for teachers. And
Absolutely.
I'm incredibly appreciative of that ability to be able to do that for teachers. So thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. All right, so moving on to our next item, Vernon tuition agreement for 24-25.
Great, thank you. So currently the Vernon tuition is $18,200. We need to vote to approve it each year, and traditionally it's been set very close to the nearest 100 to the maximum allowable rate by the state of Vermont Department of Education. The maximum rate for for FY25 is $19,774. So I am respectfully requesting that you approve $19,700. Any questions about that rate?
I move to approve the 2024-25 Vernon tuition rate of $19,700.
Second.
Excellent. Any further discussion? Go ahead.
Sylvia Cummings, yes.
Melissa Gary, yes.
Jennifer Coffin, yes.
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
Go ahead, Steve.
Stephen Martin, yes.
And Raina Dastu, yes. So that passes unanimously. Thank you. All right. Quarterly report on grants.
This is really nice, the way
Yeah.
it's put together. Thank you for doing this for us, Jordan. I learned
Oh, you're welcome. I just need to find a copy of it. And
Oh, I can get you one right here. It's Steve's packet.
thoroughly enjoyed putting it together. If I could just find it. Sylvia, thank you.
It's yellow.
Oh, I'm sure I have it here. But
Yellow after the big one.
all right. Well, I don't know if people had a time to thoroughly look through this. I'm not certain that reading out the numbers of every single grant and the current balance remaining is probably the way to go in the interest of time or information. But certainly, I welcome any questions regarding the grants as listed. I mean, one thing in terms of an overview that I think we're proud of as an administration is that this list is getting longer, which means more money for our, educational product. So we're not at this point just getting the normal Title 1, 2, 4, and IDA 240 and 262 special education grants. We've applied for and received a lot of different competitive grants, and is it seems like people can't complete a sentence without mentioning a new grant. Patricia mentioned, the career innovation, $75,000 and then $50,000 a year for the next 4 years. And Kate also mentioned the investigating history grant, which technically we don't have the final from the governor, so we haven't even put it on here. But that's another grant that we'll receive. Playful learning, there's a continuation portion of that. We're not certain that we're going to get that, but we may in fact. So not only are there a lot of grants, but this is not a completely exhaustive list, so there may be more stuff coming. But that's one of the many benefits we have of having a full-time director of teaching and learning. Kate has been very helpful in helping us get more grants and do great things with the existing grants we have. So thank you, Kate, if you're still listening.
I did have one question about the a purchase to address student cell phone use. Is it still the plan to purchase the Yonder pouches, or are we still looking at options in terms of managing that?
Yep, my understanding is, that is the plan. And not to put too much pressure on one person.
I would say policy hasn't
Oh,
been
I
gotten
think
there
we
yet.
have to vote on that first.
it's pending.
We're still looking at that. Okay,
Change my answer.
cool.
I have a question. Is there a way that families can see all the grants being worked on? I just feel like this is such good work that families and parents should know that this is happening. If there's a way to sort of distribute that information or put that on the website or sort of, I don't want to make
All good
another
ideas. Yeah.
thing for someone to have to do a task of having to keep something going, but it's really beneficial for the community to see all of this.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think I'll work with Patricia to see what the best route is to disseminate that information to the public.
Yeah, Patricia was mentioning putting it in the district update
even
would be a
for
nice way to
families who
share
are
with
considering
families.
Yeah, I think that's a
Here,
great,
that's-
it is so nice to see all of this in one place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes,
Which is what
absolutely.
We're supposed to do on a quarterly basis. Jordan, I just want to check and make sure that the playful learning amount is correct. I thought it was significantly higher.
That's a good point. So the grant was originally awarded last fiscal year, and
I see, that's right, okay.
but it's a total of $65,000. So, 52,000 was spent last year, and so we're just finishing up spending that amount
Okay.
this fiscal year, and there may be more coming in the future.
Great.
Okay, so great, and Sylvia, great idea. I'll put a little something about this in the district update.
Nice.
Something else I'm reminded of, and our money managers need to be commended for this, is that unlike a lot of schools, we're not reaching that fiscal cliff because of where you and us, we all decided to put ESSER money, for instance, that is due to run out. And we have spent that, in large amounts of that, on one-time its not staff that have to be let go because that money disappears.
Yep,
So thank you.
it's a great point.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to our annual appointments and approval of hire letters. For our district physician, Dr. Poti. our legal counsel, and our lovely recording secretary.
Can we vote these as a group?
I think we need to vote them separately. I would, it's just because they're separate positions. I would vote them.
I move that we appoint Dr. Potee as school physician for the year 2024-25, and the stipend as listed.
Second. Great. Any discussion? Need the vote?
Sylvia Cummings, yes.
Melissa Gary, yes.
Jennifer Coffin, yes?
Karen O'Neill, yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
And Steve Martin has left the meeting, so Raina Dastu, yes. So that passes unanimously. Right, and I guess we can just vote by hand raising from
Hand raising,
from
okay,
here.
great.
All right, so for appointment of our legal counsel from the Dupree Law Offices.
I move that we send a letter to Mr. Russell Dupree to retain his legal services from July 1st of 2024 to June 30th of 2025 at the rate in the letter.
Second.
Excellent. All right,
So,
go ahead.
Sylvia Cummings, yes.
Oh,
we can
actually-
just raise our hands now.
All in favor?
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I know, we're up.
Yeah. Switching gears. All right. And then our recording secretary. Oh, I don't see that letter in my packet. Oh, there it is.
Wonderful recording.
Yeah.
Wait, so I
Yes.
have a question though before, I'm curious at how long we've been sitting at 80 per meeting.
Yeah.
That is.
And when was the last time this was updated?
What is that?
How long has that rate of $80 per meeting?
Yeah. So I'm feeling like, yeah, I'm feeling like I want this to be reflective of the work that she does while she's here, but then putting together the notes.
Making the corrections.
And making the corrections.
Sending the.
So, I would like to see an increase to this, but I don't have a suggestion at this point. But I feel like this would be something
I 100% agree with you.
I do too.
for something to be sitting at, let's say, 10 years.
Is that doable?
Yeah.
So I'm feeling that an increase is probably is warranted, and thank you for bringing that up, Melissa. So should we
work on that.
hold on that one,
We'll come back to it.
and we'll come back with
Okay.
another proposal,
Thank you.
another letter. So good.
And I think it's worth mentioning, it's probably my fault that Anne's name was, after Anne was taking so much heat for misspellings, Anne's name was spelled wrong. So, just saying, everybody makes mistakes, Anne. Oh, we did?
You did.
Oh, good.
You did.
I was going to say, if it was spelled incorrectly, it was my fault. If it's spelled correctly.
Corrected by changing
Yeah.
the amount. There you go.
Exactly. There we go, Sylvia.
All right. So
Do we vote on that as like, do we hold or?
we need to vote to table. We'll just table it,
I'd like
and then
yeah,
we'll
let's table it.
It'll. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Other business not anticipated by the chair. I do not have any items for that. Personnel update.
Okay, shorter list this month. This reflects we have signed a contract with Sarah Burstein over at VES. Oh, the school counselor.
Yes, I'm so excited when I saw her name. Sorry.
Now, Amy Kearney. So I'm wondering who in the room knows, I think it's the
Dupree.
Dupree
Amy Dupree.
family?
Who's Amy Dupree?
This is Amy Dupree.
Yes.
Yes.
That is who it is.
There's lots of smiles around the.
Okay, did Karen O'Neill teach Amy Dupree?
I don't think so,
She doesn't.
She knows who she
She
is.
doesn't think so,
but I know who she is.
but she
Well,
knows. who she
We
is.
are so happy. And as Gretchen knows, and maybe Melissa and Jennifer, Amy has 3 boys over at BES. She is home to Bernardston, lots of experience. It's a home run. We're so lucky. And I just spoke with her today, and we have hired her for an extra 5 days this summer. I feel strongly we want to set her and our new principal up for success. So we will pay Amy some extra days to come in and make sure that she is well acquainted with the office, what needs to happen before the school year begins. So that is a really exciting change on the personnel list. As you know, Tom Moore moved from being a night shift custodian to a day shift custodian. We have a new custodian, Kylie Bruner. And my understanding is that Tom's partner has said it has changed their lives for him working together. Yeah. And wait, I did announce about PVRS. I already did that.
Yes, but you can say it again, because it's not in print yet.
It's not, because she came into the office this afternoon while I was up in Vermont and signed, put her signature on the contract. When we are back tomorrow evening, I will get into the office and sign it so that we can send her something over the weekend. But we have a new high school principal as well. Just delighted with that. Any questions or comments about the personnel list?
And is
All right.
Ann spelled with an E or just A-N-N?
A-N-N-E.
Scanlon, Amy,
E-M-I-G-H.
All right, excellent. Our enrollment update.
We had a student who moved, and I knew the reason why we had a 3rd grade student. Oh, they moved to another state. A nearby state, but another state.
Okay. Great. All right. And our upcoming meetings, we have, our next meeting is 4/25 at 6 p.m. here. And that, like a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Yeah, all in favor? Excellent. Okay. Excellent. Thank you, everyone.
Hey,
See you in a
teaching and
couple of
learning,
weeks.
get your calendars out.